Here we are, Tier 1. This is coming out on April 21st. Hopefully everything's going all right for you guys while on lockdown. I know for myself, I'm pretty lucky here that I have some space to be able to do the things I need to do to keep my body healthy. And hopefully as you're going along in these on your own, you're finding that you can keep your own body healthy as well, even though you might not have a space to be able to do it quite like this. So today we're getting into a couple new things. We're going to use a bigger ball. And remember, if you don't have the Supernova here, you can use a softball, a bigger ball of some sort. Sometimes you can even use a ball like a volleyball, something that's just a little bit bigger and it's not even as firm. It could be a little bit softer as well. For this particular first mobility exercise that we're going to get into the psoas. Okay, the psoas is a deep spinal flexor muscle, and it actually goes up into the diaphragm, attaches to the spine, and it runs along your spine deep within your gut and goes down and attaches high up on the femur into the hip. So it flexes both the hip and the spine. And when we're sitting a lot, it gets really tight, okay? Because when we're seated, we're hunched over, all of the muscle gets tight in this gut area, which I've talked about before in regards to the hip flexor. Okay, this TFL here works very similarly to the psoas, and each of them get really tight as we sit quite often, which we're all doing a lot these days. So this is a different one. Now, this is really important to remember. If you're going to go on to Tier 2, Tier 3, you shouldn't do this right now, okay? I'm giving it to you right now because this is what we talk about in Tier 1. We talk about mobility. If you're going to go on to exercise and do Tier 2 and Tier 3 after this, you should save this one for before bed tonight or right after the workout. In fact, it'd probably be best to do it right after the workout. So save this mobility exercise for at the very end. Now, it's important that you can watch it. You can watch it right now, just see, or if you want to skip along to these stretching exercises that are right after this, then you could do that and get straight into the movement, okay? And the reason for that is because the psoas is a really tender muscle. It's not an area or muscle that we typically roll or massage often. And sometimes when you roll it, essentially it's going to be confused after. It's not going to contract as well as you may like because it's adjusting to the new length and mobilization that you just created for it. So it takes a little time for it to reacclimate and engage. Doesn't mean you're going to have any issues or any harm done to you. It just means you shouldn't do vigorous exercise right after. Okay? So here we are. We're going to get into it. Now what you're going to do is find your belly button and put the ball right off to the side. Okay? I have maybe 2 inches in between the belly button and the ball. Okay? Now the ball, as you lay on your stomach and get into it, is going to kind of sink into your gut. You can see how as I push in, it's going under my rib cage a little bit and it's going above my pelvis. Okay, so I'm just showing you here just so you can kind of see where it sinks in. Now we're going to do 3 minutes each side. I'm going to be laying on my stomach. You're not going to really see where the ball is. As I said, that's why I'm showing it to you right now, right here, because as I'm on my stomach, you're not going to see it that well. So I'm in that spot, and I'm pretty experienced at getting into this, so I can sink into it pretty well right away. Okay, so I just found the location. I'm just talking to you like this right now. What I have is my other leg, my left leg, is slightly bent here. Okay, so my knee is slightly bent. I'm going to lay completely flat on my stomach. And then I'm going to drape my right arm, because that's the side that the ball is on, all the way up completely straight. And then I'm going to turn my head away from that arm. So I get in this position kind of an oblique angle going into the psoas through the ball. Okay? Now the most important thing here is to breathe really deeply in and out of your nose. And as you breathe deeply, your stomach will inflate on top of the ball. Okay, and this can be quite uncomfortable. I'm able to talk. Some people are not. As I said, I've done this quite a bit, especially when I was having low back pain. Okay, so I'm going to take some big breaths here. You'll see my back rise on top of the ball. And from now We're going to do 3 minutes, okay? We're going to breathe for the first minute, and then I'll guide you in what to do next after the first minute, okay? So let's just, hopefully you're here with me now. I'm going to time us. We're going to do about a minute of just breath. Now you may notice yourself wanting to tense over the ball, and this is completely natural. It's not too often that you have something pushing into your gut, right? And it's also important if you have to urinate or go number 2, that you may have to do this before you hop on the ball. You may be noticing that at this point. If you have to press pause, go handle some business in the bathroom, go ahead and do that and come back, because you really do want to be able to relax. I'm coming up on the first minute. Now for the next minute, the middle minute, I'm going to begin to move my leg of the side that I'm on. So I'm on my right psoas. I'm going to move my right leg by pulling it in towards my glute. I'm flexing my hamstring here. And then I'm going to do internal rotation of my hip, where my foot drops out to the side. And then I'm going to do external rotation of the hip, where my foot drops to my left side. And then I can go back straight. And breathing just as I was before the entire time I go through this motion. So I'm doing this subtle motion for the next 30 seconds or so. Really important that you move slowly. Okay, that was about a minute there with the motion. Now the last minute is going to be contract, relax. Now, what that looks like is, it's really tricky in this area, is I'm going to take a big breath in, keeping my foot up. You'll see my stomach fill with air, my back rise. After taking that huge breath in, I'm going to contract my core and drive my knee into the ground, my right knee. So I'm squeezing my abs, pushing my knee into the ground. Hold that for about 10 seconds. Exhale, relax everything. So what I just did there was the contract relax method for the psoas. Now we're going to do that about 2 more times. I'm going to take a big breath in. Foot is up, drive the knee down, flex the core. Hold the breath. Flex for 10 seconds. Exhale, relax. Take a breath in between if you need to. Notice the ball getting deeper. Okay, we're going to do 1 more. Pull the foot up. Inhale. Hold. Contract. Exhale, relax. And when you're done, just slowly roll off what's comfortable for you. Okay, so now we got the right side, or whatever side that you started with. I'm going to do the other side now. Okay, so I'm going into my left side, just beside the belly button. My left arm is going to go up. My right leg is off to the side a little bit. And what you may notice as you switch sides, you guys, is that one side is more uncomfortable than the other. Now, for me, my left side tends to be a little bit more uncomfortable. Could be because my left psoas is a little bit overdeveloped. It could also be because your stomach is on the left side of your gut. So if you've just eaten a big meal or something like that, then it could be pushing on your stomach and your intestines, and it could be more uncomfortable. That doesn't mean it's unsafe. You're not going to damage your stomach or your intestines at all, so don't worry about that. Now I'm going to do about 30 more seconds of just the breath, really consciously breathing in deep into my stomach. It's really challenging to get that breath all the way down into your stomach, but really try to breathe super deeply. You can see my body rise and fall. And you notice my eyes are closed, right? Because even though this can be painful, a lot of endorphins are being released as you do this particular mobilization. Anytime you roll the psoas or the low back, a lot of endorphins are released. That's why it's really nice to do before bed, because it relaxes you, relaxes your state of mind, your body. Okay, now the middle minute, I'm going to do the leg movement. So I'm going to go internal rotation, leg drops out to my side. Hold that a couple seconds, foot comes into the other side. And you may notice again more pain in one direction over the other. Pull the heel. This is internal rotation. External rotation. This one's definitely more spicy for me, so it's important I spend a little time. I'm going to do one more, both directions, holding a couple seconds each way. Woo. Okay. Now, lastly, the contract relax. So I'm going to take that big breath in, keep the foot up. Push the knee into the ground, contract the core. About a 10-second hold, and exhale. Relax, let it all out, foot down. Take a breath in between if you have to. Okay, here we go again. We got two more of those. Inhale. Contract, push the knee down, flex the abs. I'm going to do one more. Big breath in. Contract. Exhale. Relax. Okay, and slowly roll off of that. Now, you're going to take a little time. Remember, as I said, you're not doing this one before the exercises. So I'm going to demonstrate this way because my body's been able to handle this, and I've practiced this before. But notice, after you do this, whether you're doing it at the end of the workout or you're doing it before bed, what does your spine feel like? What does your core feel like? What does your mood feel like? Because there's going to be some noticeable changes, especially if this is the first time you're doing it. One of those changes just might be that you're relieved to get off the ball because it was so uncomfortable, and that's okay too. That could be what you're noticing. Now we're going to go into the active stretches for getting prepared for the actual workout. Okay, so the first one is actually well tied into that rolling technique that we did. Okay, because this will actually stretch the psoas as well, but it's also stretching all the other anterior part of the hips. So we got the hip flexor, the psoas, iliacus, little rectus femoris, okay? And I've had us in the low lunge before here, right? So we're going to get into this position again, and we're going to drive our hips forward, okay? And the further this foot goes forward here, the more open this hip is going to get, okay? So challenge yourself with how far that foot's going to go forward. you're going to keep your back toes tucked under your shin, and that's going to keep it a little bit more active. So your toes are not relaxed like so, but pulled under. Okay. Now I'm going to have my hand here right in front of my shoulder as if I was holding a plate there. I'm going to keep my back glutes squeezed the entire time I do this. I'm going to push my hand up and lean to my left as I inhale. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And I'm really thinking about pushing, right? We want this to be active. We're now warming up our bodies to get prepared for getting a nice workout after. And we want this to be warming our body, okay, getting prepped. Keeping this back glute squeeze, very important here. I'm at 5. I got 5 more of these. We're going to do 10. I got 1 more. So not only are we opening this right hip, but we're also beginning to warm up and open our shoulder as well. So that's why actively pressing up like that is also important. Now we're going to do the other side. My left side is tighter, as I mentioned earlier, so I may not be going as deep. Okay. So I'm shifting my hips forward, my back toes are tucked. I'm squeezing my left glute, keeping that engaged. Hand in the plate position. Inhale as you go up, lean to the right or away from the bottom knee, whatever one you're doing. Exhale down. It's really hard to remember keeping the back glute squeezed, but definitely try. I will continue to remind you. What that does is actually increase the stretch deeper into the hip. I got 5 more. Oh, I feel that pulling in psoas all the way up into my diaphragm. It's great. I really love that sensation. Three more. There we go. Now, that's the first one. The second one and last one that we're going to be doing in the mobility exercises today is going to be a lizard pose rotation. So lizard pose is something that's commonly done in yoga, and it's very similar to the starting position that we were just in. So you put one leg forward, and then you're going to put your hands down on the inside of this foot here. Okay? Now, some of us might not even be able to do that. So if you need to put a block here or something under your hands that's a little bit higher, I'm totally okay with that. Now, how far back your back knee goes is also determinant of how low you can go in this position. So if my knee is here, forward, then I may be able to get my hands down. If my knee is further back, okay, it's a little bit harder on this back hip, which is okay as well. So play with that position, how far back that back knee goes. Now what we're looking for here is, as I said earlier with these exercises, is activity. We're trying to warm our body, and this one's going to really warm you up. So I want to start off by keeping this foot in a nice strong arch here. You can see my foot's not collapsing, my toes are not coming off the ground. I want to keep them down. And my knee is pushed out gently into external rotation just slightly. Okay? So that's going to keep the hip active and slightly engaged. Now what we're going to do, if you can, you're going to take your inside hand off the ground, and you're going to keep it off the ground. I'm going to drop this elbow towards my ankle, and if I can go lower, I'll go to the ground. Today, it's not happening for me, so this is as low as I'm going to go. I mean, I can really push, but I'm not going to yet. And then, after I go down, I'm going to then reach my hand up towards the sky. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. I'm really pushing this arm down through the ground as well. This arm is straight, really engaged. I'm going to do 10 of those. So that's 2. This is going to be 3. Exhale down. Inhale up. Don't go too fast with this. You may be wanting to get it done. But this is one that's really important that you take your time. When I go down here, I'm feeling a huge stretch in my high hamstring and groin of my left leg. Okay, so that's the sensation I'm feeling here. You might feel some pinchiness in the crease of the hip here, and you're definitely going to be feeling the back hip in the front as well. And then when you push your arm or push this arm down, you're feeling this shoulder activate. As you pull this arm open, you're stretching open this left pec or top pec muscle. And you're also getting some mid-back rotation to mobilize your thoracic spine. So it's really effective in getting a lot done at the same time. That's why we do it. We're always trying to create efficiency with our workouts, right? So the more you can accomplish in the less amount of time, that's how you're going to make the time you spend much more worth it, right? So that's the way I like to look at it. We don't all have 2 hours to work out each day, as much as we might like to. We do not. I don't want to work out 2 hours a day either. I'm good with an hour. This is my 10th one. Okay. Now, depending on the day or the hip, you may be able to go lower each time, right? So that was my left hip, a little bit tighter. We'll see what my right hip does. Let's do this way. So again, I'm in that lunge position. I put my hands down. I slide my back knee back as far as I can tolerate. I have a strong foot here with my knee pushed out slightly. My left hand is going to be the hand that stays on the ground. My hand that is closer to this foot is going to be the one I'm reaching my elbow. Okay. Now I'm going to drive that elbow down. Hold for a second or two. Open up, reaching towards the sky. Bottom arm is straight. Inhale, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. Now, although we're trying to be active here, there are moments when you want to relax. When you come down, try to relax, take a breath, inhale up. I'm going to count that as 7. We'll do 3 more. Oh, I made it to the ground here. What an accomplishment. There are minor things like that may not seem super important, but if you notice yourself gaining progress, right? Now I'm kind of more relaxed on this side. I can get my whole arm down. It's important to be proud of those little mobility gains. That is a telltale that you are making some progress. If you're able to go lower in a stretch, that's great. That's really good. I'm going to do 1 more. All right, and now I'm sweating. Okay, and hopefully you are too. This is where Tier 1 ends. We're moving on to Tier 2, core activation. I'll see you there. If not, I will see you Thursday.